Anyway, so next up is Oliver. Oliver, you want to share your strategy? I want to make sure we leave about 5 minutes at the end for quick Q&A.
Yeah, I will be super brief. So I just wanted to walk through briefly how I communicate with students online. I've been teaching online for, I think, most of the pandemic, and all my classes are online, and I enjoy it. And I don't think it honestly derails my communication with students at all. So one thing I do, I think it was mentioned, I definitely do a module overview video for all the modules that I do. And like I'll walk through basically sort of every aspect of the pages, and I try to number my pages so when students have questions, they can reference the number. That helps. And students have said repeatedly that they definitely appreciate these kind of module overview videos. I haven't done it yet, but I definitely use the announcements. I send at least one announcement per week. In that announcements, usually what I'll do is I'll link to the overview video. So this whole idea of circulating to the same thing in 3 or 4 different ways is super helpful. One thing just to kind of also that I'm committed to, and I think I borrowed this from Helen, I'm putting my office hours in my signature line and including the Zoom ID link. So again, coming back and really committing to being available at those times. One in the Zoom room, but I also use a Google Voice number, and students can text or call basically sort of whenever, and you can set the limiters on when you want to be called. And students, I've never had a problem with anybody sending a message at 2 a.m. or something like this, but some students appreciate that, the text and the phone calls. Another thing, and it was sort of mentioned, with discussion type activities. So I do a day one, and then I have usually at least one kind of discussion per week, and the different methods of feedback that I do. So I'll have students often have the chance to do video submissions for those who know how to do video submissions, or some students like to do audio, and I can recognize what the technical abilities are of students. So if I see a student who can't embed an image, for example, which is something I ask in the day one, I'm going to give that student special attention. I have links in the resource pages for all the academic technology stuff on how to use Canvas Studio or how to embed an image, how to make things accessible that I can push to those students based upon their ability to submit something. Also, for those who are going online in the first 2 weeks, and if you've never done it, be flexible. With your deadlines, I have staggered deadlines. I'll say it's due January 18th, but I'll accept it till a week afterward, right? Because you want to just see who's doing stuff on time versus who needs a little extra time versus who needs to be kind of prompted and say, hey, you need to make sure that you submit your assignments on time. So again, just to kind of summarize, the module overview videos are super helpful. They're really easy to do if you've never used Canvas Studio. Think about multiple kinds of submission feedback. It was mentioned SpeedGrader allows you to have, I love the comment notebook archive for frequent comments. You could just click on it and it just populates it with your comment. Or if you think a student really needs extra attention, you can do the video, or of course you can give the written feedback as well. And again, for I know Chris Doyen was asking about maybe comments if you don't use SpeedGrader. I noticed that some students, when I give feedback on written documents that students submit, you have to remind them either to get the app or to look at the feedback with a computer. Sometimes students can't see the feedback that you give on an actual text, so that's something to consider as well. So yeah, I just wanted to say again, even though I teach completely asynchronously, I don't have a Zoom meeting. I think I communicate with students in multiple ways. And, for those students who are go-getters, they'll text me or they'll call me, they'll come to office hours. And then for students who need a little extra nudging, by halfway or less into the semester, you have to kind of build their comfort for engaging you. And you can see again what the skill sets are of the students right off the bat in the first couple of weeks in terms of their ability to navigate the technology. So I think I'll stop there.
Awesome. Oliver, thank you so much. And I love the highlighting that we need to build that comfort for some students. Some students may not necessarily need that, but really creating and being intentional about that at the beginning of the semester. Naomi, you're our last speaker. If you want to go ahead and take it away, and then we'll have some time at the end for quick Q&A.